Hello Canadian whiskey lovers, welcome to Whiskey Whistle. I'm your host Mark, and this is whiskey review number 100. Yes, it's been 100 now. Quite a long journey getting to here. I was hoping to do that within the year, but I'm about 2 weeks behind schedule in terms of getting the 100th review out before the end of a calendar year. Full year, 366 days this year. Well, anyway, that's nothing to be too sad about. I think I did pretty well, all considered. And I thought for the 100th review, I thought it would be best, since I'm Canadian and since I'm in Canada, and also since I'm in Manitoba, that I should do something from Manitoba. And well, this is the only whiskey that is made here in Manitoba yet. Hopefully that'll change. So I thought I would do something very special, and this is a limited release from Crown Royal, and it is called the Noble Collection Cornerstone Blend. So this is a new collection that they're starting out with, and this is the very first one, the Cornerstone Blend. Not available here in Manitoba, sadly, oddly. But it was available in Ontario, where I stayed one night before coming here. Let's get that unboxed, shall we? Beautiful felt bag for this one, actually, and it's a lot softer than the typical Crown Royal purple bag. And let's get that opened up. We'll put the lid back on. And there it is. Yes, I've had quite a few of these. There we go. And in order to make that even more of a Canadian review, I'm also using the Glencairn Canadian whiskey glass. Okay, so roughly the same shape in one sense as the regular Glencairn, but a little bit wider, a little bit bigger, holds more volume. You can put an ice cube in there. Best thing would be an ice ball, a large sized ice ball. I tried it, it's very good. I wish I could have done that on camera here, but it's not logistically not that easy to do. And a little bit of a more of a what can I call it, scalloping here. So it comes out a little bit wider, which I guess it helps to aim the whiskey across the breadth of your tongue. One thing with Canadian whiskey, which in Canada we know is simply as rye, there's a lot of rye whiskey involved, and it's a little bit spicier, right? So you want that spice to cover the tongue so that you can really notice all the flavors. Beautiful bottle. They spared no expense there. It's got a nice cork. We'll get that open, and really solid wooden cork that they've put there instead of the usual composite or plastic or whatever that they typically use. Okay, so we'll get that poured. And again, I apologize. I wish I had some photos to share with you, but out here, especially in light of the day, they really don't look that great. Okay, so there we are. So what is this Cornerstone Blend? Well, it's supposed to have a combination of 3 whiskeys. Now, Crown Royal, as I've mentioned before, they distill many different kinds of whiskeys and then blend them after the fact. So when you think of the fact that this is blended Canadian whiskey, it's really very different from blended Scotch whiskey. Blended Scotch whiskey has different distilleries involved, but blended Canadian whiskey typically has just the one distillery, but they make the whiskeys separately and they blend them after the fact, after they've casked them. Some of them do before casking, but anyway, so let's have a look at that one. an exceptional blend of 3 whiskeys that form the heart of Crown Royal Fine Deluxe. And it's 40.3% ABV, 80.6 proof. I wish it were higher. A little bit odd, 40.3, but anyway, somebody felt that that was the very best ABV, the very best strength for this whiskey. And I'm going to read through the back here. I don't normally do that of late, but we'll read through it. Limited release. The Crown Royal Noble Collection is a series of limited annual releases, so this will come out every year, that celebrate the skilled craftsmanship of our master blender and his dedication to the art of creating extraordinary whiskeys. Our Cornerstone Blend, the first Noble Collection expression, showcases 3 unique whiskeys from our Gimli distillery, so all from Manitoba. These whiskeys form the heart of the Crown Royal Fine Deluxe, a spicy Canadian rye, a creamy whiskey from our unique coffee still, and a soft, sweet Canadian whiskey matured in charred American white oak. Okay, so it looks like we've got a spicy Canadian rye. What does that mean? So probably a fairly large percentage of rye in the mash. Okay. Creamy whiskey from our unique coffee still. This may likely be corn, predominantly corn whiskey, and a soft, sweet Canadian whiskey matured in charred American white oak. So this looks like, again, something that's a little bit of rye, a little bit of corn, a little bit of barley, matured in charred American white oak. So probably new oak, I'd imagine. Okay, these Cornerstone whiskeys are so essential to Crown Royal. We kept this whiskey in a special rail car. Over the years, this rail car was moved throughout Canada to ensure the whiskey's safekeeping in the event that anything happened to the distillery. We are honored to share this unique blend, which features notes of sweet caramel, rich toasted grains, and an aroma of ripe fallen apples and vanilla. We hope you enjoy this exceptional whiskey. We certainly had fun creating it. Okay. So Manitoba didn't get this, only the US market and also Ontario. Now, when I smell this, it really seems a lot more like a bourbon than like a Canadian whiskey. Yes, there's some rye spices in there. Well, I don't know, maybe about half and half, a straight rye and a straight bourbon. But it is really a big departure from the regular Crown Royal. It's very, very spicy. Yeah, the more I smell it, the more I get the rye spice coming through. Quite elegant. And color-wise, this is again a deep color, very similar to that of a bourbon. And I think it's a bit darker than the regular Crown Royal. In fact, it absolutely is. When you look at the color in there. It's great in the sunshine too, doesn't it? Can you see that? Heavy on the cinnamon. Also some of that rye mintiness in there too. Vanilla, caramel. They don't smell apples as of yet, but let's see how that comes out on the taste. Now, since this is the 100th review, we're going to skip the ads for the nosing and tasting, okay? So we'll just have fun with that today. Cheers, everyone. That was too small a sip. Pretty big flavors for 40.3% ABV. Caramel corn. Definitely some apples there. The rye carries through as well. And I notice here in the finish, there's a lot of rye flavors that are left in my mouth right now. Let's go back in there. Yes, definitely appley. Big on the vanilla. And the finish seems to be dominated by rye, which is very nice. Still vanilla there, very fruity as well, but you get a lot of that rye spiciness that's left on my tongue now. My tongue feels very dry, and yet that hint of mintiness to it. Very nice. As I mentioned, a very, very big departure from the typical Crown Royal. We'll add a little bit of water in there now, not much since it's relatively low. Well, I want to say low, but we just want to maybe see if there's anything else noticed in there with a little bit of water added. I didn't add much, maybe about 2 milliliters, and I'm gathering I've got a little more than an ounce left there, so it should be still fairly strong. I don't want to dilute it too much. One great thing about these glasses is they're really sturdy on the table, so no worries of tipping. And you can really have it with the rolling and strolling through the glass. Although I guess once you clear that lip, you're going to spill it, so do take care. Okay. Oh. Kind of a buttery caramel note coming through now. Boy, even a hint of salt. I think that bourbon style whiskey that they've done in charred white American oak, I think that is really, really predominant here in the flavors that I'm noticing and the smells. A lot bigger on the vanilla too, and yet still fruity. Cheers all. Much more appley now. And they say fallen apples, indicating that they're very ripe. Also some fresh apples in there too. It's very easy to drink. The palate is quite smooth, and you get a lot of that spice, even with water. Rye spices coming through to let you know that you're having a Canadian whiskey. That's something that's very different from American bourbons. And I would definitely say that this is on par with a lot of the older straight bourbons and straight ryes that are made in the US. Great. Very drinkable, very smooth. It's got a lot going for it. I do wish it was, let's say 43%, even 45. 45 is the ABV that Crown Royal puts a lot of their newest whiskeys out at. And I think that would have made this a stunner. It is exceptional, no doubt. I'd say just slightly underpowered, slightly. We'll leave it at that. So how about the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Crown Royal the Noble Collection Cornerstone Blend? What's that going to be? It's going to be 86 out of 100. 86 out of 100, that is Crown Royal Noble Collection, the Cornerstone Blend, the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score. 86 out of 100. And I think if you are a bourbon lover, this would be a nice change to try to get into Canadian whiskey. And especially if you're into the craft, the top drawer, the top shelf bourbons, I think that you'll like that as well. And if you're a Crown Royal fan, this is definitely something you should try that will help to unravel all of what Crown Royal is and what they can do. Anyway, Scotch lovers also, there's enough spices and flavors here that you can enjoy sipping that over an hour. And for all of the mixologists out there, I wonder what kind of cocktails you can make with that. I think it can do really, really well in any number of drinks out there. And hopefully you've made some unique ones for this one. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. This has been Whiskey Whistle. I'm your host, Mark. Don't forget to like the link back down right down here. I guess right about here. Don't like the link. Click on the link to to subscribe to Whiskey Whistle. Like the video. Don't forget to share it. This has been the 100th review. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next 100, and I hope to interact with all of you. Leave your comments if you tried this already. If you haven't, go out and get some and let me know what you think, okay? Thanks again, everyone. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless that I've gotten this far, and I hope that you've enjoyed all that I've done and all that's yet to come, okay? Take care, and we'll see you again.